treated me like garbage, and now you're shocked I'm gone? That's the quote. Let it sink in. Because some of you have been out here giving your heart like a gift, and getting treated like a doormat. You gave warmth, laughter, loyalty, forgiveness, and they gave you cold shoulders, half-truths, disappearing acts, and weak apologies. But now that you're gone, now that you finally stopped showing up, they're confused, they're pacing, they're feeling something they don't even understand, because you were the light they never expected to lose. If that already hit you deep, then do this right now. Hit that like button and subscribe, because what we're about to talk about isn't ordinary. This is dark detachment, and when you learn how to use it, you'll never be the same again. Hey folks, imagine this. You're standing in the middle of a room, the lights are on, you're smiling, laughing, glowing, and they're standing across from you, bored, distracted, they don't even notice. You wave, they look down at their phone, you speak, they ignore. You ask, "What's wrong?" They say, "You're too much." So you do what you always do, you shrink, you dim your light. You start questioning yourself, just to stay in a space where they never deserved your energy to begin with. But something in you shifted this time because they rejected you. Again and again, until something inside you cracked open and whispered, "Stop showing up where you're not seen." And you did. You didn't make a scene. You didn't beg. You just stopped explaining. You disappeared into silence, not out of hate, not out of revenge, but out of power, out of clarity, out of something called dark detachment. And that right there is the most addictive energy in the world, because now they feel it, now they're spiraling, now they're replaying every moment you were sweet to them, like a movie they didn't appreciate until the screen went black. Now they're thinking, "Damn, she was really good to me." Now they're realizing they fumbled something real, but they can't find it anymore. And you're not giving them closure. You're not writing essays. You're not trying to prove anything, because your absence has said more than your presence ever could. My friends, listen to me. Some of you were not just ignored. You were emotionally used. You were treated like backup plans. You were given crumbs and told it was a meal. You were thrown in the trash like you didn't glow like gold. But guess what? Gold doesn't beg to be picked up. It stays buried until someone worthy finds it. So let them feel it. Let them sit in the silence. Let them toss and turn at night, wondering why your energy isn't chasing them anymore, because they thought you were weak, but really, you were just loyal. They thought you'd stay no matter what, but really, you were just patient. They thought you'd keep giving, but you finally woke up. And now that you've stopped, now that you've mastered the art of glowing and going, now that you've given them nothing but silence, they're haunted by you, haunted by your laughter, by your touch, by your glow. That's what dark detachment is. It's not disappearing. It's becoming unforgettable. It's becoming the regret that rewrites their entire memory of you. So if you're ready to reclaim your power, if you're done playing nice with people who play games with your heart, if you're ready to be the one they never get over, then drop this in the comments right now. I choose dark detachment. Say it, claim it, own it. Hit the like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because this isn't the end. This is your beginning, your glow-up, your revenge in silence. Number 1. When they didn't choose you, let that be the last time. They threw you away like trash, and now they're mad that the garbage doesn't shine like you. Let that hit, because some of you need to stop pretending that what they did to you was okay. You keep rewriting history in your head, making excuses for someone who saw your value clear as day, and still chose chaos, still chose drama, still chose someone who didn't love them half as purely as you did. My friend, they didn't fumble the bag. They burned it, and now they're crying about the smoke. Imagine this. You're standing in front of someone with your heart in your hands, offering them warmth, peace, loyalty. It's gold. It's rare. It's sacred. And what do? They shrug. They say, "I'm not ready." They say, "It's not you, it's me." They say, "I just need space." Then they walk off and hand their time, their energy, their attention to someone who treats them like trash, someone who doesn't even care if they come or go. And here you are, thinking maybe you weren't enough. No, stop right there. They weren't blind. They just weren't brave enough to choose someone real. You see, people don't always choose what's good for them. They choose what feels familiar. They choose chaos because peace feels boring to the unhealed. And you were peace. You were steady. You were true. So they left. And now you're sitting there asking questions like, why wasn't I enough? What did they have that I didn't? Why did they come back and leave again? Why did I love someone who could treat me like this? Let me give you the truth. Straight, raw, no filter. They saw your value and they gambled it. Because they thought you'd always be there. They thought you'd always forgive. They thought you'd stay soft forever, but not anymore. Not after the way they tossed your love aside like it was optional. Not after they treated you like a doormat and then got shocked when you stood up. Not after they turned your kindness into a convenience. And I know it's hard. It's hard to accept that someone could look you in the eyes, see your soul, and still walk away. It's hard to stop hoping they'll finally get it. It's hard to not pick up the phone and prove your worth one more time. But stop. You are not a pop quiz in someone else's emotional confusion. You are not a second chance for someone who never deserved a first. You are not here to be half-loved. And no, this isn't about being cold. This is about being clear. This is about finally deciding that their inability to choose you says more about them than it ever did about you. You kept showing up and they kept looking past you. You kept trying and they kept running back to the same patterns that left them empty. You gave effort, emotion, soul, and they gave excuses. You were the one. They were the lesson. Now listen to me, and listen good. Let that be the last time. Let it be the last time you question your glow. Let it be the last time you lower your standards to be seen by someone crawling in emotional immaturity. Let it be the last time you break your own heart trying to fix someone else's. You want to know why this hurts so bad? Because your heart is real. Because your love is deep. Because you didn't fake it. And that's rare. That's powerful. And not everyone is strong enough to hold it. But don't let their weakness turn into your identity. Don't let their confusion convince you that you're forgettable, because I promise you, you're not. They remember, they feel it, they just don't know how to face it. And while they're out there pretending like they're okay, scrolling, laughing, posting, acting like you didn't mean a damn thing, they're haunted, not by your absence, but by the moment they realize you're not coming back. Because your detachment wasn't quiet. It was spiritual. It was loud in all the places they tried to hide. You didn't beg. You didn't fight. You just vanished. And now, they're hallucinating your presence like a ghost they called into their own life. Let this be your new standard. You don't beg to be seen. You don't fight to be chosen. You walk away so powerfully, so gracefully, they forget how to breathe when they think of you. So rise, right now, not out of revenge, out of rebirth, out of, I will never dim myself again for anyone who couldn't see me the first time. Write this in the comments, right now. I was the light, I walk away. Say it to yourself. Say it to the mirror. Say it to the universe. Say it for every moment you gave too much and got too little. Press that like button if this hit your soul. Subscribe if you're ready to live like the masterpiece you are. And stay with me, because what's coming next is how to haunt their ego without ever saying a word. Number 2. Stoic golden law. Never chase what ignores you. They didn't ignore you because you weren't enough. They ignored you because they thought you'd never leave. Let's make something real clear, my friend. You were never too much. You were never too intense. You were just offering depth to someone who was swimming in the shallow end of emotional maturity. They wanted your glow, the softness, the warmth, the way your energy made them feel seen. But they never respected the soul behind it. They didn't want to meet your depth. They wanted to consume your light. But here's the first law of Stoic detachment. Never chase what ignores you, because the moment you chase, you tell them, you don't need to value me. I'll do all the work. I'll carry the weight of this connection alone. And don't you dare fall for that trap again. See, Stoicism isn't about being cold, rude, or heartless. It's about clarity. It's about seeing things and people as they are, not as you wish they were. It's the art of sitting in your power, even when your heart wants to reach out. Even when your emotions are screaming, just text them one more time. Even when your ego says, they'll forget me if I don't show up. But here's the truth, they don't tell you. The one who ignores you is already telling you everything you need to know. Their silence is an answer. Their inconsistency is a decision. Their distance is a message. So stop translating confusion into hope. Let me ask you something. If someone dropped a priceless diamond on the street and just walked away, would the diamond chase them? Would it roll after them like, wait, you forgot me? No, it stays still, because it knows its value. You are that diamond, you are that glow, but they treated you like costume jewelry, disposable, replaceable, and easy to come back to. And yet here you are, second-guessing your silence. Questioning if maybe you should have explained more, loved harder, waited longer. No. Enough. Let silence carry your last word, not out of pride, but out of self-respect. Because when someone feels no more energy from you, when you stop reacting, stop reaching, stop explaining, that's when the panic sets in. That's when the ego starts to spiral. That's when they begin to feel what they never expected, the weight of your absence. They thought your love was guaranteed. They thought your softness would always be there to catch them. But now the game has flipped, and they don't even realize the silence is the loudest rejection they'll ever experience. You don't need to yell. You don't need to cry. You don't need to make some big dramatic exit. You just stop showing up. You move in silence like a storm that already passed, but left everything shaken behind. They'll check your page. They'll scroll your memories. They'll sit there with the ghost of your glow, wondering, why does this feel so empty now? And the answer is simple, because the source of peace is gone, because the one who gave without demanding finally demanded nothing. You gave your last word in the form of distance. So, my friend, I need you to rise up right now, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and write this in the comments. I don't chase, I detach. Say it loud, say it with your chest. Say it for every time you watered a connection that never watered you back. Because what's coming next is how to make your absence feel like a mirror they can't stop staring into. And trust me, that reflection's gonna hurt. Stay with me. Number 3, the soft glow before the storm. She didn't leave with anger. She left with a smile so calm, it burned worse than any goodbye. That's the kind of memory that lingers, not the scream, not the blocked number, not the dramatic walkout, but the silence after the softness, the way she laughed one last time, the way she looked them in the eye, knowing it was over, and still said, "Take care." That's the kind of glow that haunts. My friends, listen. The most powerful weapon in dark detachment isn't rage. It's radiance. It's when you give them the light, the real, sacred, healing light, and then walk away before they even learn how to appreciate it. Be sweet, be stunning, be unforgettable, not for them. For you. Show up with grace, with joy, with effortless beauty in your spirit. Smile, laugh, be fully present. Let them feel it. Let them taste what it's like to be loved without conditions. Not because they earned it, but because you chose to love them at that level. And then, go. Pull it back, not with malice, but with mastery, because it's not your absence that burns them. It's the contrast. It's the fact that you were there completely, softly, consistently, and now you're not. No warning, no final chapter, no drawn-out speech, just that soft glow, followed by silence. That's when their mind starts replaying it all. The way you made them feel safe, the way your voice felt like home, the way your presence softened the tension in their life without them even realizing it. And suddenly, that silence, it's unbearable, because they don't remember the last fight. They remember the last moment of peace, the one you gave, the one they never gave back. And now, it's gone. Let me paint it for you. They're scrolling through old photos. They see your smile, the way you used to look at them like they were the only person in the world. And they feel that drop in their chest, that ache, that slow-burning panic of realizing, she's not mine anymore. Because what destroys someone isn't the breakup. It's the loss of energy, of presence, of knowing they can't come back to what used to feel safe. And that's the lesson. You don't need to slam doors. You don't need to announce your exit. You don't even need closure. Your silence is closure. Your glow, followed by your absence, is the punishment they never saw coming. They don't miss you because you yelled. They miss you because you were still kind when they didn't deserve it. They miss you because you walked away, like peace itself got tired of waiting. So don't dim, shine. Shine so brightly before you go that when you disappear, they feel the darkness in their bones. Let your energy be so full of grace that when it's gone, it leaves a hole no one else can fill. You want to make someone regret losing you? Don't fight, don't explain. Just glow and go. And when you do, they'll be sitting in the quiet, whispering to themselves, she was so warm, and then she was gone. Write this in the comments right now. Glow and go. Say it loud. Say it like a promise to your past and your future. Hit the like button if you're done being predictable. Subscribe if you're ready to become unforgettable. And stay with me, because next I'll show you how that contrast turns into obsession and why they can't stop thinking about you once the silence sets in. Number 4, the rejection reversal, how detachment becomes their obsession. They thought you'd wait forever, and now your silence is the loudest thing in their life. That's the reversal. That's the twist. They thought you'd break when they left. They thought you'd fold when they pulled away. They thought you'd sit by the phone, refreshing your screen, praying for a message that never comes. But you didn't. You didn't chase. You didn't explain. You vanished, quietly, cleanly, powerfully. And now, their brain is stuck on repeat. Their ego is glitching because they had you figured out, or so they thought. They knew how you responded. They knew how fast you replied. They knew you'd always be there with your open heart, your soft energy, your love pouring through even when they gave you scraps in return. But now the pattern is broken. Now there's a silence they didn't expect. Now they're standing in front of a closed door they always assumed would stay open. And that mess with the mind more than any fight ever could. You see, obsession isn't born from love. Love is peaceful. Love is safe. Love doesn't spin you out at 3 a.m., but confusion, uncertainty, sudden stillness from someone who used to glow for you. That's what breaks people, because now they're asking questions they never asked before. Did I go too far? Is she really done? Why hasn't she reached out? Did she find someone else? What if she never talks to me again? And here's the part they'll never admit out loud. They don't miss you. They miss the version of themselves that felt in control. They miss the feeling of being wanted without effort. They miss the power they had when you were the one trying to hold it all together. But now, you flip the script. Now your silence doesn't match the story they built about you in their head. And that's where the obsession begins. Because the mind can't stand open loops. It wants answers. It wants patterns. It wants to understand why you stopped caring, and why it hurts more than they thought it would. Let me tell you what happens in the dark when the world is quiet and they're alone with their thoughts. They check your socials. They replay your old messages. They scroll through your photos and zoom in like they'll find some kind of sign that you're still thinking about them. They wait for your energy to show up. But it doesn't, because you're not playing anymore. You're not handing out closure to people who couldn't handle your love. You're not entertaining the ego that thought it could come and go as it pleased. You detached, not with anger, but with precision. And now they're the one obsessing. They're in the loop now. They're the ones wondering. They're the ones hurting. And you're silent. Not passive, not cold, just unavailable, just unreachable, just done. Let that be your lesson. You don't get people to respect you by loving them harder. You get people to respect you by removing your energy the moment they show they don't value it. No fight, no final message, just absence. And when they finally realize what they lost, when the confusion eats away at their pride, when they start to spiral in their own silence, that's when the obsession sets in. Write this in the comments right now. My silence is power. Say it like you mean it. Say it for every time you were overlooked, dismissed, or played with. Hit that like button if you're done being predictable. Subscribe if you're ready to become unforgettable. And stay with me, because next we're going even deeper. Into the kind of detachment that doesn't just break patterns. It breaks their sense of control. Number 5. You never needed closure. They needed your validation. They weren't looking for closure. They were looking for your reaction. That's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. They didn't walk away confused. They walked away expecting you to chase after them with clarity. They wanted you to cry, to explain, to spell out every detail of what they did wrong so they could feel powerful, so they could stand there and say, "See, she still cares." But when you went quiet, when you stopped explaining, stopped defending, stopped proving you were worth keeping, that's when the panic started, because they didn't expect peace to follow your heartbreak. They didn't expect you to disappear into calm. They didn't expect you to smile and say nothing. They thought silence was weakness. But silence is a sword, a blade so sharp it cuts through ego without ever drawing blood. You never needed closure, because you already knew the truth. You knew they were careless with your heart. You knew they were getting comfortable with giving you less, while you kept giving more. You knew they were breadcrumbing your soul and hoping you'd thank them for it. So why were you trying so hard to explain your pain to someone who caused it? Let me ask you this, my friend. What has all that explaining ever gotten you? All those paragraphs, those calls, those moments of raw honesty, did they change anything? Did they wake up? Did they finally love you right? No, because people don't wake up from being told. They wake up when they feel the absence of what they took for granted. That's the real closure. When the one who used to give them light goes dark, not out of hate, not to punish, but because you're not in the business of explaining your worth anymore. And I get it. You're kind. You're deep. You want resolution, peace, understanding. You don't like to leave things unfinished. But here's the truth. They don't want closure. They want control. They want to know you still feel something, even if it's pain. Because as long as you're reacting, they're still relevant. That's why your silence hits harder than any monologue ever could. That's why your calm haunts them more than 1,000 goodbyes. Because they were waiting for the scene, the argument, the drama, the emotional unraveling, and instead, they got stillness. They got the sound of peace they never earned. They got a version of you that refused to beg one more time. And let me tell you something. That version of you, that silent, calm, detached version of you, that's the one they remember. Not the one who cried, not the one who tried to fix everything, but the one who walked away with nothing but dignity in her eyes. So stop chasing closure. Stop texting for answers. Stop trying to make them understand. Because the moment you go silent, with strength, not spite, is the moment they start unraveling in ways you'll never see, but they'll never forget. They'll remember the warmth you offered, the effort you gave, and the grace with which you left. And when they sit in their silence long enough, they won't be haunted by your words. They'll be haunted by your peace. Write this in the comments right now. My silence is closure. Let the world see it. Let them see it. Say it like it's the last word you'll ever need to say. Smash that like button if you've ever begged for someone who didn't deserve your voice. Subscribe if you're ready to become the version of you they never get back. And stay with me. Because next, I'm going to expose the secret pain they're hiding behind that fake confidence, and why they're quietly falling apart without you. Number 6, they're in pain, but they'll never show it. They'll post like they're thriving, but they're crying into the silence you left behind. Let's get something straight, my friend. Just because they're quiet doesn't mean they're unaffected. Just because they haven't texted doesn't mean they've forgotten. And just because they're pretending not to care doesn't mean they don't feel your absence like a ghost sitting on their chest at night. They're in pain, but they'll never show it, because ego won't let them say the words that are eating them alive. I lost her. So yeah, they're watching. They're checking your stories. They're lurking on your profile. They're asking mutual friends how you've been, without asking too much, because they're terrified you've moved on. They're scared you're healing. They're horrified that you might be laughing again, without them. But they'll never say it. They'll never admit it. Because in their world, whoever stays silent first wins. Whoever cares less wins. And they're trying so hard to win a game that doesn't even matter anymore. Because you're not playing, and that's your power. You don't need to call them out. You don't need to chase them for closure. You don't need to force them to admit they miss you, because deep down, they already do. They feel it every time their phone lights up and it's not you. They feel it when someone else laughs, but it doesn't sound like you. They feel it when they're with someone new, but the energy's off. Because it's not your presence. It's not your fire. It's not your glow, and it never will be. But their pride, that's the prison. They'd rather suffer in silence than admit they fumbled something real. They'd rather scroll past your name than text you what they're actually feeling. Because in their mind, saying, "I miss you," would mean admitting they messed up. And most people's egos would rather suffer than submit. So they cry in silence, not because they're heartless, but because they were never brave enough to love you properly. And now they're too prideful to admit they were wrong. But let me tell you what happens in the quiet. They think about the last thing you said, the last time you smiled, the last moment your energy was still in their life, and it hurts, not because you're gone, but because they know you're not coming back. Not this time. Not after the way they treated you. Not after the way they ignored, rejected, or replaced you like you were just another option. And what's worse, they know they can't recreate you. Not in a new relationship, not in a rebound, not in a memory, because you weren't a moment, you were a presence, and they didn't know how to hold it. So let them pretend, let them post, let them smile in front of people and fall apart when no one's looking. Let them bury the pain so deep it wakes them up at 2 a.m. and they have no idea why their chest feels heavy. Because you don't need their apology, you don't need their regret. You don't need their words. You've got something louder. Your silence. And baby, it's screaming in their ears. Write this in the comments right now. They feel it. I don't need proof. Say it for every night you cried, wondering if they cared. Say it for every time you questioned your own worth. Smash that like button if you're done needing validation. Subscribe if you're ready to let your peace do the talking. And stay with me. Because next, I'm going to show you how to become the flame they can't forget, even when you've already let them go. Number 7. Become the flame they can't put out. She didn't move on. She leveled up so hard they couldn't reach her even if they tried. That's the energy now. No more explaining, no more proving, no more giving chances to people who couldn't even give you clarity. This is about becoming the flame they can't forget. Not because you're still chasing them, but because your glow now burns in places they can't touch. They thought you'd be stuck. They thought you'd cry forever. They thought you'd sit in the dark, wondering if they ever cared. But now, you're in your glow-up era. You're healing, you're working, you're transforming, not for revenge, but for rebirth. Let them watch. Let them scroll. Let them see your energy change before their eyes. Because the best kind of closure is no longer being the same version of you they discarded. They'll try to keep up. They'll post fake smiles, fake dates, fake peace, but they can't fake evolution. They can't fake that soul shift. They can't fake the way you no longer need their attention to feel powerful. So be unavailable, not just to them, but to anyone who brings confusion, half-love, or chaos wrapped in sweet words. You are no longer taking applications from people who can't handle your depth. If they bring inconsistency, block it. If they bring uncertainty, walk past it. If they bring bare minimum, leave it where it belongs, in the trash. This is where the glow-up begins. Not just on the outside, but in your energy, in the way you don't over-explain, in the way you don't overthink your silence, in the way you move with so much peace that they can't tell if you're healing or already too far gone. Because here's what they don't tell you. You don't have to move on fast. You just have to evolve so far. They can't find you anymore. Not emotionally, not energetically, not even in memory. You stop being the one they hurt. You start being the one they'll never forget. You become the what if, the unfinished chapter, the glow that blinds every new connection they try to build, because no one else will have your laugh. No one else will carry that storm and that softness in one body. No one else will love them like you, because you don't come in duplicates. And now they know it. Now they scroll your feed, and it hurts. Not because you're posting thirst traps, but because you're glowing, peacefully, powerfully, like someone who finally realized, I don't need anyone who couldn't keep me. They'll remember the way you used to wait, the way you used to check in, the way you used to fight for something real. And now? Now they can't even reach you. Write this in the comments right now. I became the flame. Say it with fire. Say it for every version of you that begged to be seen. Smash that like button if you've decided your glow-up is personal. Subscribe if you're done playing small. And stay with me. Because next, I'm going to show you what happens when your silence turns into their identity crisis. Because you're not just gone. You've become the mirror they can't escape. Number 8. You're not the rejected. You're the reminder. You were never rejected. You were remembered too late. That's the truth no one tells you when your heart is breaking. They act like being left means being less, like their silence is proof of your failure. But no, you weren't rejected. You were too real for someone fake, too deep for someone shallow, too light for someone hiding in the dark. And now, you're not chasing, you're not explaining, you're not trying to be understood by someone who never tried to understand you. Because you were never meant to be just another chapter in their story. You were meant to be the line they can't forget, the moment they can't undo, the reminder that they had something rare and let it slip. That's the difference. People think detachment means you stop feeling. But Stoic detachment? It's control. It's choosing your peace over their patterns. It's walking away, not because you didn't love them, but because you finally loved yourself more. But dark detachment, that's something else. That's when your silence etches into their memory. That's when you don't just walk away. You haunt them, not with rage, not with words, with absence. With the calm that says, you had access to something divine, and now you never will again. Because the truth is, they will remember the day you went quiet. They'll remember the text you didn't reply to, the story you didn't post, the call you never made. They'll remember it like a scar they can't name, a sting they feel when someone else touches them, but doesn't spark like you did. And they won't admit it. They'll act unbothered. They'll keep up the show. But beneath the performance, regret. Because you weren't the backup plan. You weren't the filler episode. You were the standard. The peace they didn't know they needed. The love they weren't prepared to receive. And now that you're gone, now that the energy's gone cold, they finally get it. But you're no longer available for late realizations. You're no longer an option once they've explored all the wrong doors. You are not the rejected. You are the reminder. That real love doesn't beg. That real peace doesn't chase. That once you stop fighting to be seen, your absence does all the talking. And they'll hear it. Oh, they'll hear it in every laugh that doesn't sound like yours. In every new person that doesn't hit the same. In every night they scroll and see you glowing without them. They'll hear it in the silence, in the calm, in the closure they'll never get because they never gave it. So let them pretend. Let them act like they won. Because behind that pride is a soul that knows they lost something eternal. And you're not bitter. You're not broken. You're legendary. And here's what it all comes down to. You were never the one who lost. You were the one they couldn't keep. Because once you mastered dark detachment, your silence became unforgettable. Let them pretend, let them post, let them lie. You've already won. By walking away with peace, they'll never taste again. If this hit your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe for more, and share it with someone who needs to hear this power today. Drop in the comments, I choose peace over pain. And remember, your silence says everything.